Welcome. In this video we will show you the Lukashian calendar, how it works, why it is better and how it can improve your life. But before we do, let's have a look at the old calendar. We're so used to it that most people don't realize how complex it actually is. We have the seconds that run from 0 to 59, except when there's a leap second, then it's 0 to 60. The minutes run from 0 to 59 as well, but the hours run from 0 to 23, except when there's a summertime or wintertime switch. There are 7 days, each with a different name, and the days of the month run from 1 to 28, 29, 30 or 31. We have 12 months, each with a different name as well, and finally the year. Do you know what the first year of the old calendar is? 0 or 1? No, the first year is actually the year 1582. Then there's time zones, the 12-hour system with AM, PM, week numbers, etc. And have a look at the clock. What does this point stand for? 7, 19 or 35? Imagine waking up with a jet lag in a hotel room after a long flight. If you don't know whether it's morning or evening, the clock won't actually tell you the time of day. All of this complexity is insane, but there's an even bigger problem. In the old calendar, every day has the same duration. In reality, however, these durations are slightly different. This is because the orbit of the Earth around the Sun is not a perfect circle. Certain days can be as much as 50 seconds longer than others. The old calendar simply takes the average duration and applies this to every day so that they all have the same length. This sounds like a good idea, but it has a nasty side effect. To see this, let's imagine that we are in a part of the year where an old calendar day is 30 seconds longer than a real actual day. A day on the old calendar now ends 30 seconds later than it should, but it's only 30 seconds, no big deal, right? The next old calendar day, however, is not only 30 seconds too long, but also starts 30 seconds too late because of the previous day. Now the difference is added up to 60 seconds. Eventually things will even out again, but at certain points the difference between old calendar days and real days can be as much as 16 minutes. Our biological clock follows real days, not old calendar days, and being 16 minutes out of sync with your biological clock definitely does not improve your health. So if you can't seem to wake up on certain days, you now know where to look. So, to summarize, the old calendar has many problems. Old calendar days are all the same, whereas real days aren't. This means that people are out of sync with their biological clock. The same is true for years. Old calendar years all have the same duration, whereas real years don't. And as we've seen, the old calendar is insanely complex. You can't, for example, simply calculate how much time there is between 2 points. If there has been a leap second or summertime-wintertime switch, then you have no idea how much time has passed. It's time for a new design. The Lukashian calendar was designed from a caveman's perspective. What could a caveman see? He could see days because of day and night. He could see years because of the seasons. And he was aware of the time of day. These things are real. They follow from nature. Everything else, such as week numbers, weekdays, months, time zones, leap days, leap seconds, summertime, wintertime, AM, PM, etc., was made up by society over time. We don't need this. The Lukashian calendar also embraces the fact that days and years don't all have the same length. By designing the calendar around this fact, we no longer have to shoehorn reality into a calendar that doesn't fit. This makes leap seconds and leap years unnecessary. So, what does the Lukashian calendar look like? The Lukashian calendar has years that correspond exactly to actual astronomical years. They start at midwinter, when the North Pole faces away from the Sun, and finish at the next midwinter. That means that they don't all have exactly the same length. Some years can be a few hundred seconds longer than others. The days correspond exactly to actual astronomical days. They too don't all have exactly the same length as we have seen before. This means that there are not a whole number of days per year. Instead, a day belongs to the year in which it started, even if it finishes in the next year. This may seem complex, but it means that we no longer need leap years. A week is a period of 10 days. The first 7 are working days and the last 3 are weekend. This means that people have slightly more time off compared to the old calendar. Each day simply has a number, such as 1, 2, 3, all the way to 365 and sometimes 366. We don't need months and the days don't need names. To know which day of the week it is, we simply look at the last digit. Is it an 8, 9 or 0? Then it's weekend. The last 5 or 6 days of the year can be a holiday period where we celebrate Christmas, New Year or any other festivity. After that, the days of the next year will start. Now that we've seen how years and days work, we will have a look at when the Lukashian calendar starts. Or in other words, what is the current year? When this video was made in June of 2024 on the old calendar, the Lukashian year was 5924. That means that the Lukashian calendar started 5924 years ago. This number was chosen for 3 reasons. Number 1. The last 2 digits of the year are the same as on the old calendar for most of the time. Number 2. The point at which a day ends and the next day starts is during the night for the vast majority of the world's population. This is important because the Lukashian calendar does not have time zones. It's the same time everywhere on the planet. If you want to know how this is related to when the calendar starts, have a look at the How It Works page on the website. Number 3. All of human history for which we have a date fits in the calendar, so we don't need before zero dates. Events that happened before the Lukashian calendar started don't have an exact date anyway. For example, dinosaurs lived 100 million years ago, but this doesn't have an exact date, so we don't need a calendar for that. So, we have our years and we have our days. What about the time of day? Because each day has a slightly different duration, we cannot use hours and minutes because they have a fixed duration. Instead, the Lukashian calendar uses something much simpler. The time of day is simply the proportion of the day that has passed. This proportion is expressed using beeps. A beep is a number that runs from 0 to 9999. Each day is therefore divided into 10,000 little pieces. But wait, if each day has a slightly different duration, then do the beeps of different days have a different duration too? Indeed they do, but the difference is very small. The shortest beep of the year is only 5,000th of a second shorter than the longest. For almost all purposes, this is fine. And if it isn't, then programmers can work with a much higher precision than beeps. Since each day is divided into 10,000 beeps, let's have a look at how long beeps are compared with the old calendar. 10,000 beeps is exactly 1 Lukashian day, which is approximately 1 old calendar day. 1,000 beeps is approximately 2.5 hours. 100 beeps is approximately 15 minutes. 10 beeps is approximately 1.5 minutes, and 1 beep is approximately 8.5 seconds. Beeps give you a much better idea of how much of your time you spend on things. Does something take 1500 beeps? That's 15% of your day. A typical schedule could look like this. You get up at 3500. Go to work at 3700, have lunch at 5400, dinner at 8000 and go to sleep at 9800. Of course, these times differ between regions on Earth, since there are no time zones in the Lukashian calendar. You can use the converter on the website to convert between the old and the Lukashian calendar. So, bringing it all together, the Lukashian calendar has days, years and beeps to tell the time of day. That's it. No more complexity. Programmers get to work with a fluent, logical and pleasant programming model and don't have to waste lots of time on complex calendar logic anymore, saving their companies lots of money. Children no longer have to learn a calendar and clock that make no sense. Instead, they get to know a calendar that is intuitive and gives them an easy connection to the underlying astronomy. Global organizations benefit from not having to deal with time zones anymore, and everyone benefits from perfect harmony with their biological clock. If you want to know more, check out the website at lukashian.org, especially the section on how it works. You can also find a Lukashian clock to put on your wall or desk and learn how you can contribute. Thanks for watching.